Hi, I'm Wendy Lowy Sloan, and this is What's Up with Wendy's podcast. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. I began my career in New York City as a television producer for talk show legends Phil Donahue and Geraldo Rivera. And for the last decade, I've used these experiences to create my unique style in interviewing hundreds of A-list celebrities, newsmakers, comedians, musicians, reality stars, fitness and nutrition experts, best-selling authors, and so much more. So I hope you enjoy this wide variety on my podcast. I hope you'll share and subscribe. And again, thanks for tuning in. This episode of What's Up with Wendy's podcast, she made daytime history when she became the first African-American woman to host the Today Show in 2014. Tamron Hall is joining me, and not since my days as a television producer for Phil Donahue and Geraldo Rivera have I ever admired someone so. She's shedding light on domestic violence and pets. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about her talk show and so much more. You won't want to miss my sit down up next with Tamron Hall. My special guest today, award-winning TV host, journalist, philanthropist. She is the host and executive producer of the daytime television show Tamron Hall, joining me to talk about that and to shine light on domestic violence and pets. A huge, huge welcome. I am a huge fan. I was a TV producer for Phil Donahue and Geraldo Rivera. And you are my favorite now. Welcome, Tamron Hall.
Thank you. Wow. Well, you've got great company there, so I take that as a huge compliment. Thank you.
Well, that was many moons ago. So now I can tune into you, and there's actually a show that I like that reminds me of those days back then.
Yeah, that was our goal when we started this show. We wanted a traditional talk show where we could talk about everything, including what I'm speaking with you about today, which is survivors of domestic violence. And so many parts of the conversation, Wendy, as you know, are not openly discussed. And the issue of pets being left behind was something I have to admit I was not aware of, even until about 2 years ago when the Purple Leash Project was brought to my attention, and the number of 48% of survivors of domestic violence delay leaving because they can't leave their pets behind.
To me, it was just to read that. I did not know that. And I also, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men will experience some form of domestic abuse in their lifetime. Many, which is shocking to me, don't leave their abuser because they can't leave their pets behind. It wasn't that wasn't even a thought to me about that. Till you brought this.
I know I lost my sister in 2004, and I started working on behalf of organizations who help survivors of domestic violence, Wendy. And it was something that never came up, to be honest with you. There are so many layers of this conversation, so many ways that people are trying to help and learn in this space. And it took me aback when I read that, and it's something that makes perfect sense. But during this pandemic, it was a part of the conversation that really rushed ahead when you think about all of the people trapped in the home, all of the additional abuse they are enduring, children, women, men, to your point. And then they decide, even in this pandemic, I have got to get out of this home. And there are places who are willing to help me. Wait a minute, what about my pet? And sadly, Wendy, there are abusers who use that leverage, who threaten the pet, who threaten to do some of the same violent things to that innocent family fur member. And that holds a grip onto that individual. So we, with Purina and the Purple Leash Project, have the goal of, by the year 2025, to help 25% of the shelters out there become equipped to take in family members who are furry. And that means renovation. That means pet play areas, in and outdoors. That means cat bridges, all of these things that people have in their homes to make their lives, their pets' lives pleasant. We want to see those very same things in shelters around the country.
Which shockingly, there's not, right? There's not right now.
And it's not for, It's not because they don't want to help. It's because, as you know, financial aspect of all of this. So at the Purple Leash Project, since it is the National Pet Month, we're just asking people to go to purpleleashproject.com/pet month to get more information. But there are shelters, as you know, Wendy, all around the country. They want to help. And the Purple Leash Project wants to provide them with the funds to do those renovations. So it is a win for everyone. And I know this conversation is pointed in the right direction.
this conversation is absolutely in the right direction. And I'm sure with the pandemic, more stress, more pressure, more abuse was happening because, as you said, nobody could get out, nobody could leave. So it became worse. So what an amazing project, the Purple Leash Project, and your beautiful purple shirt that you're wearing right now. What a great thing. So they're providing resources to make domestic violence shelters pet friendly, allowing pets and people to heal together. It's a beautiful thing. And we will put that out there. And that's it. That's a goal, 2025, you said.
Yes, 2025, 25% of the shelters in the country becoming equipped to not only take survivors of domestic violence, but their pets as well. And I'm a pet owner. The last campaign we had with the Purple Leash Project actually featured my beloved pet, May Love. I had her for over a decade. She moved from Chicago to New York with me and was at my side when I first learned I was having my son. And so I know what pets mean. It doesn't matter if it's a bird or cat, a ferret, whatever it is. It's the unconditional love that they offer us. And so for me to partner with Purina and the Purple Leash Project, it really touches my heart in such a deep way. When my sister passed away, I've been very open
Very sorry about that.
Thank you.
Very sorry, yes.
Thank you. And one of the things that I started to think a lot about once I partnered with Purina was the fact that her beloved dog, Mini-Me, was right there with her. And knowing that bond, that unbreakable, unshakable bond that we have with our pets, it just ignited another level of fire in my belly to do more and to spread the word. And this is a very special way to do it. So I appreciate you making the time to talk with us, because it does require platforms like yours and voices like mine to team up to get the word out about the Purple Leash Project.
I absolutely agree. And my beloved Lucky, who's a lab, he's 13 plus, is right here with me. And I could never imagine leaving him. I can't imagine him leaving me. These pets, they're a family. They make the house a home, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Whatever I can do for the Purple Leash Project and for you and to help. And again, I'm so sorry about your sister, and what a beautiful thing that you're doing, helping everybody. All right, Tamron, if you just tuned, I'm talking to Tamron Hall. You made daytime history when you became the first African-American woman to host the Today Show in 2014. I'll never forget that. What was that journey like for you?
Oh, it's been incredible. I mean, my mother was a 19-year-old single mother. My grandfather was a sharecropper born in 1901. And they both poured unconditional love inside of me and told me I could do anything. Everything that I try to tell my son today, everything that I'm sure the parents who are listening tell their children every day. So to have a goal like that accomplished, something that, my grandfather never could have ever imagined, and certainly not even myself, it was phenomenal. But what was even more phenomenal from that experience, it gave me the skills and the drive to push through and create this talk show that I have, the Tamron Hall Show. It's nationally syndicated. Again, something I never imagined. But for me, it's less about the things accomplished, but it's the work to be done. And on our show, we try to talk about it all. We laugh together, we cry together, we learn a little bit together, and we talk about things like domestic violence and what we can do for survivors of domestic violence. So none of it I could have ever imagined. I couldn't have. There's no script for this, but I'm grateful to have the platform and the opportunity and this special place in TV that I can share these types of stories.
And again, there's not shows like the ones I worked on until you. And I think the reason that people trust you so much is because, as I'm seeing today, meeting you for the first time, and I can't believe it's the first time, that you are such a real down-to-earth person with real experiences and real life things, and you're bringing that to television. And I think that's the bond that people have with you, because just looking at you right now, I feel like I could be your best friend, because you bring that out. You bring that out in everything that you do and in every show that you do. What did you learn from the first season and from the journey of starting the show?
Wow, there's so many lessons I learned. Listen, we were only on air maybe 4 months before the pandemic happened. And we went from, a live studio audience in this beautiful facility to me doing my show from my kitchen. Like so many other people, the pivot was one that we couldn't have ever seen coming. Someone asked me the other day, like, Could you imagine, like, if I could have imagined, I would have won the lottery or something else. Like, none of us could have imagined it. But I think what the show has taught me, and what I'm sure all of us in reflection, looking back these past 14 months, we are all far more resilient than we could have ever imagined. I had a 9-month-old child when this started. He's now 2 years old and he's thriving. And we're just now, spending grandma time in person. I'm vaccinated. My family members are vaccinated. And I think that this time last year, I remember Wendy watching television and doing the show, crying, watching the lines of people just hoping to get a test. Remember that? That was only a year ago, just hoping to get a test, or the lines and lines of people. There was a shot that I saw in the news. I think it was in Florida, but the line stretched down the freeway, people trying to get food and all. And so, from where we've come from to where we are now, and we know that we still have more to do. It's just also imaginable. So when I look at the show, I look at it under the lens of professional and personal, because we were all going through this. And I learned so much, but the most important thing I've learned is the story of resilience in all of us. I could never have imagined it.
Never either. I would love to spend more time with you. I will spend hours with you. Thank you so much. And the Purple Leash Project, we will put that out there by Purina. It's National Pet Month. So we're going to all get involved in this project and help you and help everybody out there that needs it. Thank you so much.
Give your fur baby a big hug from me. Give your little fur baby who's there with you a big hug from me. And the Purple Leash might be on the way.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining me. Take good care.
Thank you, Wendy.
So I had to call you, Ida, because I usually bounce everything off of you after these interviews, but I just got off with, I just interviewed Tamron Hall. As you know, award-winning TV host, journalist, philanthropist. She is, since my days of being a television producer for Phil Donahue and Geraldo Rivera, I've always said there's not those shows anymore. They don't exist. Absolutely. So if someone said to me, and they've said often, why don't you go back and be a television producer? I said, there's no way I could, because the shows that I used to do, the newsworthy shows, the important shows, that they don't exist anymore, until Tamron Hall, started her show. And she started her show. She launched it right before the pandemic. And then she had to switch over into doing it from home, as we all had to learn and adjust to a new way of life this past year plus with the pandemic. And I said, wow, if there was anyone I'd ever work for again, it would be Tamron Hall, because she is so real, so down to earth. And she brings real life, real stories to, and you could tell. And I said, I always liked her, but it wasn't until I just interviewed her that I realized, like, she is, now I know, because that's why people trust her, because she's so down to earth. She's lived and had so many life experiences, which she shares. So it's like talking to you, Ida. It's like, it's like a friendship. And, I think that's why she's been so successful. So she came on to talk about the Purple Leash Project. So I had to talk to you about this as well, because you and I, as animal lovers.
Right, exactly. And it's just funny because, like you said, you've legitimately spoken about Tamron Hall's news platform and stuff, how she's bringing back some kind of something that really, like you said, hasn't existed since the Phil Donahue and Geraldo Rivera days. Something that, and when you hear the name Tamron Hall, you think of journalism, you think of Emmy Award winning, you think that she won the Edward R. Murrow Award. She's a legitimate journalist. And the Today Show, MSNBC, her resume is ridiculous. And when you called me and talked about the Purple Leash Project, I just felt it never occurred to me that someone would stay in an abusive relationship because of their pet. Like, you think, obviously, there's many heartbreaking reasons why people stay in an abusive relationship, because of finances, because of their kids, because of obviously just flat out fear. But it didn't occur to me that someone would stay in their relationship because of their pets, because only what I just learned from you and from Tamron is only 10% of shelters take pets. So people feel like the pet is part of their family. And you said, being an animal lover, I can't imagine just leaving my pet. It must be just compounding the trauma that these poor people have to suffer, men and women. It was horrible. And I just think it's an amazing thing that she's bringing attention to, something that didn't even occur to me.
Men, and it's very important to say that men and women, 1 in 3 women, 1 in 4 men will experience some form of domestic abuse in their lifetime, shockingly. And they delay it They delay leaving their abuser because they can't leave their pets behind.